Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me on today's video. My name is Pat from Like Attracts Like Evolution and the Like Attracts Like podcast. Today we are going to dive into something that comes up quite often in conversations, and that is people asking how they can let go of their past. What does it even mean? Why do we keep repeating these patterns in our life? Why can't we seem to shift our attention away from things that happened previously? What is the point? What is the message here? So this is something I think we can all relate to. This is something that I definitely have experienced personally in my own life with things that I never ever thought I would find perspective on. And it's something that I want to share with all of you as to how maybe today you can actually put a kink in the armor of the conscious link that we have to the past that keeps us moving in these patterns of repeating just that when we don't want to. So today we're going to get closer to letting you let go of your past. Stick around. We're diving in deep when we come back. All right, so here we go. We are back. Today, we're going to talk about how to let go of your past, but for real, not just in some abstract idea of how we can let go or what does it mean and all this content on letting go where no one really describes or defines what that means. So I want to break that down quickly as far as what I believe letting go means or being able to let go. And that is shifting your attention from things that you don't want to have your attention on anymore, right? So the difference between letting go of something and holding on to it is your attention that you give to it. So if you have a bad breakup and you are trying to let go of the person or the breakup, what needs to happen? In reality, what needs to happen is you need to stop thinking of the breakup and you need to stop thinking of the person. You need to stop thinking of the story that you have around the breakup. You have to stop thinking about what led up to it or what was your part or you didn't have any part. It was all their part. And how could they do this to you? You have to let go of the story. So if it was just that easy, click, then this wouldn't be an issue. We wouldn't be having this conversation and everyone would just be effortlessly flowing in the moment, able to perceive what's happening next from the highest frequency possible, allowing the most amazing things in their life to unfold. So why don't we do that? We have to first talk about what happens when we go through something that becomes stuck as an imprint on our consciousness and our subconscious storage system, and then also cellularly how it gets stamped onto us. When you go through something traumatic, we'll call it, or something unwanted, you literally are, through the story you tell, you are stamping the image of that moment in time into your awareness, into your body, into your mind, and then it's stored in your subconscious. So this is why even when you're trying to push it down, you're trying to block it, you're trying to distract yourself from it, you're running around, you're getting into hobbies, you're buying new cars, you're going out on dates, trying to do all these things, it still seems to come up to the surface and you still seem to find yourself either thinking about it and it affecting you emotionally and physically, or you find yourself repeating that exact same thing that happened in a new scenario. And that is why I think it's important that we talk about what happens when you get stamped with something. The story that you tell yourself literally stamps an imprint of how you were feeling into your being, into your physical and non-physical perception of reality. It literally will stamp itself onto you. So the chemicals that are released, everything that's happening is imprinted onto you. And this is why if something happened 5 years ago and you think about it right now, it didn't happen 5 years ago. It happens right now. Even though in physical time you might see things shifting and evolving, you're blocked and you are literally living restricted in a past moment. And every time you bring your attention to that image or to that part of the story and retell it in your mind, your body responds as though it's happening now, literally, chemically, and physically. You respond with the emotion of what you were feeling. And this is why it can be difficult to let go. The longer we tell the story, the deeper the emotional and physical imprint is of that story, the more real it becomes to your reality. And then again, we develop a story that says that we can't let go or that we wish that we could. So those are the bare bone facts as I see it. I've gone through some things, again, that I said earlier that I never thought that I would be able to move beyond or shift out of physically or emotionally. And all of those things, not only have I been able to actually shift, but the way that kind of connects all of these things together about how a person does that is they have to be able to retell the story. Now, what does that mean? It means finding a different perspective on what has happened in your life, retelling the story or reframing the thing that happened to you with a different set of guidelines, a different set of boundaries, and a different state of mind, a different perception about that reality that happened in the past. Over time, as you tell a new story about what happened, you literally will change chemically and consciously the way you perceive that event. So when it is recalled, it has less of that original emotional energy behind it. Is it a quick fix? Here's the funny answer to that question. It can be a quick fix. If you decide right now today that you no longer want to give your attention to that because you know you have learned whatever you're going to, you realize that it has happened for the best good of you and for the good of all, then you might be able to quickly snap out of these things. But the reason, again, this episode exists and most of the content that I put out exists is because people do have a hard time. All of us have a hard time letting go of the story. You're not letting go of the event. You're letting go of the story that you tell about the event. So what needs to happen? I'm going to offer a few points that really, truly help me, and I'm hoping that they also can help you. There are certain things that we have wired into us from the beginning of our conscious time here on Earth. There are certain truths that we know that the mind can't wrap itself around. And it is the mind that is storing the story that you're attached to. And the more you are attached to the mind, then the more you believe you are that story and the result of it, the more you respond emotionally, the more you repeat it. So there are certain phrases and certain things that we have to stop saying in order to be actually able to move on. And the first of those things is, don't say that you can't let go, or that you are trying to let go, or that you wish you could let go of whatever the thing is. You came here for a reason. So whatever that thing is you want to let go of, don't allow yourself any longer to say that you can't, you wish you could, or you're trying to let go of whatever the thing is. Here's why. That is a safety mechanism built in the story to keep you locked inside of the story. Think about that. You either are giving it your attention or you are not giving it your attention. So to say, I wish I could, or I'm trying, I can't, I don't know what's that, you're literally just telling the story that it's okay to progressively keep telling the story, which is going to keep you locked inside of the story. We have to be able to shift that and say, I've let go of things that no longer serve me. I've let go of things that no longer serve me. This no longer serves me. Now, you still may have to go through the emotional process, but know that if you allow yourself to continue to say that you're working on it, then that's what you're doing. You're working on it. Here's the interesting thing. If you can say, feel this out. If you say, okay, here's this terrible relationship. Here's this horrible financial choice. Here's whatever it is that you want to let go of. Test this and say, I choose to let go of this today. I know that it no longer serves me. It has been long enough. I choose to let go of this today and live in the moment. Now, you might not be able to do that instantly, but see how it feels when you say that. It will feel as though you're lying to yourself. The only reason it feels like you are lying to yourself is because you've told a story for a very long time that says that you are trying to let go, or you need to let go of this thing. Don't need to let go. Give yourself permission to let go. And that is point number one. Give yourself permission to let go. If you don't give yourself permission, you're going to keep on saying and repeating, I wish I could. I don't know how. What do I do? And that is all just this mechanism built into the story to keep you inside of the story itself. Number two, stop arguing with reality. This was a big one for me. This was a tough one. I had some serious things I needed to let go of. And one of those was the loss of my mother when I was 13 or 14. I don't even remember anymore. It's been a while. But I lost my mother when I was young. And there was a big moment in my life where I knew that being attached to that pain of loss was causing some really dramatic experiences in my life. I kept continuously finding people in my life that would leave me because I couldn't get close to them. I would constantly put myself in very risk-based, dangerous situations because my idea of life and how quickly it could go was so skewed because of what I witnessed. I found myself really struggling with allowing myself to be able to have a good time or to laugh again because I felt guilty because of what I had seen, what I watched this woman go through, what I watched our family go through, what I still watch our family go through. That led to a multitude of experiences in my life that I know were required to snap me out of this perspective that I had on the loss of this very special person to me. But I had to give myself not only permission, as we talked about in number one, but I really also had to understand that I had to stop arguing with reality. And that the second that I stopped arguing with reality, and again, this is just, I'm going to put an asterisk here, whatever you're going through, don't allow me to tell you to do any of these things. But in your own time, these are the things that I believe will work when you are ready to use them. That might be the best way to put this. When I stopped arguing with reality and said, no, this is what happened, and I asked for some kind of a different perspective shift. How could I go on applying this for the positive? How can I bring this situation into a frequency or a vibration, if you will, of love and joy and peace for myself and others? How can I do that? And I started to realize for myself that I felt or was able to feel more grateful for the time that I had with my mom than the one day that she left. And now that took me a very, very long time. But when I look back at that choice and how it opened up my reality, how it opened up my relationships, how it opened up my ability to receive and feel worthy, I can't even put a value on that because I stopped arguing with the reality. And that is a difficult one. If something has happened in your life in the past, the second we stop wishing that it didn't happen is the second we begin to become clear and we can heal from it. The third one. Now, this was a big one for me too, because not only was there something traumatic as a death in the family or some kind of an event that happened that seemed to be out of your control, meaning it was the universe's plan or God's plan, and sometimes that alone can be difficult to digest. But sometimes it's what something maybe someone did to you or something that happened that made you feel a certain way about yourself. And what I found is for that, this technique called the turnaround, although it requires brutal honesty from you about you and about certain belief systems that you have about yourself and about certain boundaries that you keep or allow with yourself, there can be incredible clarity. And honestly, you can really, truly move on in a very quick way. The turnaround is basically using anything that you might script out or map out or come inside of your own sense of awareness with as far as what someone has done to you, how they made you feel. So anything you're pointing the finger at, they made me feel this way. They did this to me. If you can understand and believe, again, knowing inside of you that this reality, this universe is a mirror of your inner belief systems. If you're listening this far, then I'm going to guarantee that you're probably on board with that. This reality is a mirror of what you believe about yourself and the reality that you walk inside of. So if you can get the honesty down, I had to get the honesty down. That was like, took all of the responsibility away from anyone who had ever done anything to me. And I had to bring it back into myself. I had to turn it around on myself. So when so-and-so treated me this way and treated me this way and said this to me and made me feel like this, I had to spin it back and say, Pat, no, you treat yourself this way and you talk about yourself this way and you don't allow yourself boundaries with this, that, and the other. And it is being reflected in these relationships. And because you weren't willing, I wasn't willing to look at myself and my behavior about myself and my self-image and worth, then what I was blaming the reflection. So when my relationships or when situations in my life were happening that continued to perpetuate that feeling of not worthy and angry and frustrated, I wouldn't go and see that they were a construct of my own conscious frequency. I was blaming the mirror. And once I allowed myself to go, I get it. Why is this happening? Why do I allow these within myself? I'm telling you, I'm getting close for this. I'm telling you that every relationship that I had changed. Every relationship that I had changed, and it changed. I know it's Hallmark cardy. I know it's cliche, but we are dealing with frequencies and energy and vibration, and we're also dealing with a lot of stuff we don't understand. It happens when you go inside to ask yourself why these things are happening to you so that you can understand that they're happening for you. They happened to me in my mind, but they happened for me so that I could question why they were happening, so I could release myself from those belief systems and start applying boundaries that allowed me to view my own self-worth in a way that was going to lead me to relax and accept the moment. And that's when my life changed. Those three things allowed me to let go of some very, very painful and traumatic events from my past that continued to repeat over and over and over again in my life. Now, I want to offer you a fourth one. This is just a bonus one to close out with. I saved the down the rabbit hole one for last, but if you can understand and acknowledge, this is going to be outside of anything your mind can conceive of or try to make sense of. You only have right now. So this is this maybe actually your logical mind will be able to attach to this. You only have right now. Everything that happened to you in the past that you're trying to let go of and get rid of, it happened in the now, not right now. It happened in the now. It was never not now. What does that mean? Why do you care? You would have to convince yourself that everything that happened to you was designed so that you suffer. You have to actually convince yourself of this. And I did convince myself of this for a very long time. And that's why I can tell you, as I've moved beyond it, that I understand if that's your position, but I can also try to encourage you to look for a perspective that exists that isn't that, at a higher frequency. And that is, in order for you to believe that you should stay attached to everything that you can't let go of, you have to admit to yourself and believe that all those things that happened were designed to keep you into a perpetual state of suffering, and that you are different than anyone else who has ever overcome anything like the thing that you maybe have gone through, and that this is also part of your story, and it's up to you to choose when you want to release it. If you've only been given now, and you feel in your heart that you are here to offer love and guidance and creativity, and you have something to offer the world, or if you don't feel like you have anything to offer the world, like you would maybe like to have something to offer the world, know that it is whatever you can't let go of that is blocking you from the moment, and that is where the next answer is. So if nothing else, logic-based completely, you don't live there anymore. You're not back there, and it's the story that's keeping you stuck in a past moment, both physically and consciously. And we are designed to find a perspective that basically allows us to see where we were off in loving ourselves, where we were off in allowing ourselves to love another, where we were off in letting go and trusting that somehow there's a plan that we're not aware of and we could never be intelligent enough to figure out. Like, letting go of that, surrendering that, is going to be a very huge component in offering some relief of the past story and allowing you to sit in the moment where new things can happen. You have to be able to feel worthy of a new thing happening in order for you to be able to let go of the story that keeps you trapped in worthlessness. You have to be able to let go of that story of worthlessness and feel worthy of a new thing coming in. All of these things are designed to help you move past and excel in your vibrational journey up to the highest frequencies of consciousness, where all these amazing things exist. That is what I wish for each and every one of you. Share something wherever you're listening to this, in comments, messages, wherever you want. Share what your blocks are. What are you having a difficult time letting go of? And let's see if as a community we can wrap ourselves around this and help you a little bit further on the path. Till next time, have an amazing day, a wonderful night, and I will see you then.